welcome you. Today we're taking a bit of a deep dive into something pretty universal, personal growth and, well, those times when you just feel completely stuck.
Yeah, absolutely stuck.
We've got some really um, thought-provoking material here, basically conversations between a student monk who's really grappling with life's hurdles and his, well, very wise master.
Yeah.
It all happens in this quiet temple setting. And our mission together here is to sort of cut through the usual noise and pull out the genuinely useful wisdom, stuff that can hopefully light up your own path forward and maybe help make sense of those frustrating feelings of being, held back.
And what jumps out right away from these reflections is the young monk's sheer honesty about his frustration. You know that feeling, right? You're hearing all this well-meaning advice, those cliches like "this too shall pass."
Oh, yeah.
But inside it just doesn't connect, it doesn't land. He really felt that huge gap between like point A, the struggle, and this distant point Z, the healing.
Right, the supposed end point.
Exactly. And it felt like healing was being sold as this passive thing that just happens to you eventually, but with no real map, no instructions on how to actively, work through the pain. Does that kind of resonate?
Oh, it absolutely hits home. It's that feeling of being stuck at square one, just tangled up in the difficulty while everyone else seems to be talking about the finish line.
Yeah.
That far-off healed state without any, practical steps for the actual journey. It's like being told, climb that mountain.
Sure.
But there's no path marked out.
And what's so crucial to grasp here, and the reflections really point this out, is that this frustration, it's not a sign you're failing, not at all.
Okay.
It can actually be a massive turning point. It signals this deep down desire for real change, a sense that, you want something more than just a superficial platitude.
Right, more than just being patted on the head.
Exactly. That feeling of, hang on, something's missing here, can be the very thing that propels you towards genuine growth. It's kind of an aha moment, really. That discomfort. It might just be your inner compass trying to point you somewhere important.
Okay, so let's unpack that first step then.
Yeah.
Awareness.
Mm.
The reflections show that basically any significant move forward starts pretty simply. Just recognizing that something in your life needs your attention. And those cliches, the ones that felt so empty at first, turns out they can actually do something useful. They can kind of interrupt those negative thought loops we all get stuck in.
Yeah, the hamster wheel.
Totally. And create a little bit of space, a pause, just long enough for that awareness to sort of bubble up. Have you ever noticed that? Like a phrase just stops you for a second?
Definitely. Those simple phrases can be like hitting a mini reset button on all the mental chatter, right? Giving you just a brief moment to step back from the drama of your own internal story. And in that pause, that little gap, the insight can pop up. Okay, yeah, this needs look. It's like the first flicker of light in a really dark room.
Yeah.
It just helps you see what's actually there.
But as we find out pretty quickly, just seeing it, just becoming aware, isn't the whole picture, is it?
Not even close.
It lights up the problem, sure, but it doesn't magically fix it. I really like the analogy they used. It's like seeing a locked door, but then just staring at it, not actually bothering to look for the key.
Right, just standing there going, yep, that's a locked door.
So once you have that awareness, what's the next crucial piece for you? Where do you go from there?
That's where the second key element really comes into play. Getting, and importantly, using tools. These are those missing steps the young monk was desperately looking for.
Oh.
They're the practical ways you actually bridge that chasm between feeling stuck and, moving towards growth. Think of them as the things you actively do to navigate that tricky terrain.
And these tools, they aren't some kind of mystical secret, are they?
Yeah.
The reflections give really down-to-earth examples that, you can actually use in your life.
Exactly. Things like just taking a few moments for quiet reflection, maybe trying meditation, or even just like scribbling your thoughts down in a journal to spot patterns.
Yeah, I find journaling really helps sometimes.
It can be powerful, and maybe even more powerful is asking yourself some really sharp, focused questions.
Like what kind of questions?
Well, things like, okay, what is this whole situation trying to teach me? That immediately shifts you from feeling like a victim to being more of a learner, right?
Yeah.
Or what parts of this are actually within my control, which is, vital for taking back some agency. And then the big one, maybe, what am I avoiding here that I really need to face?
Oof, yeah, that's a tough one.
It pushes you to look at your own resistance. But the reflections also say tools aren't just internal. They can be external things too. Helpful books, maybe a mentor or teacher figure, insightful conversations, even just lessons you've learned from past experiences. What kind of tools have you found useful personally?
It's a mix, I think. Sometimes it's reading something that clicks, other times it's talking it through. But it's a good point that not everything that comes along is a useful tool, right? It's about recognizing when something genuinely resonates deep down.
Exactly, that inner click, as you say,
Yeah.
when a new perspective just lands properly. Those are the insights you need to actively collect and keep handy. Build your own inner toolkit, as they call it.
Yeah, I like that image, an inner toolkit.
And the key thing to remember is this isn't a one and done deal. Life, as you know, doesn't just give you a final exam and say, congrats, you're sorted.
Huh. If only.
Right. Challenges keep cropping up. And the reflections frame these really wisely, I think, not as punishments, but as growth checkpoints.
Growth checkpoints. Okay.
And that inner toolkit, those insights and practices you've gathered, they become absolutely essential for navigating these ongoing tests, these checkpoints.
This feels like it leads to a really empowering shift in perspective, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Moving from just being someone things happen
Yeah,
to becoming someone who actively learns and adapts from experiences.
totally.
Every challenge isn't just something to endure, but maybe an opportunity to understand yourself better, develop new ways of coping, new skills. It's the total opposite of just passively waiting for time to magically heal everything.
Exactly that. Time passing doesn't do the healing on its own. It's what you actively do with that time. Building that bridge towards growth needs conscious effort.
Mm.
One insight applied, one tool used, one deliberate choice after another.
Mm.
And the really encouraging part, I think, is that these tools you might feel you're searching for, often they're already within you, maybe dormant, maybe a bit scattered.
Waiting to be picked up.
Exactly, waiting to be recognized and put to use. It's like a gentle nudge reminding you of your own inner resources that you might have forgotten about.
So the big takeaway here really feels like it's about taking charge, isn't it? Stepping out of that feeling of being stuck and actively engaging with whatever you're facing.
Yeah.
It's about taking that first step, even a tiny one, because that step signifies you're ready. You're ready to move.
And as we dig a bit deeper into these reflections, we hit a really relevant question, I suspect, for you listening. The whole timing of wisdom thing.
Ah, yeah.
The student, having grasped some of these initial ideas, starts wondering, well, why didn't the master tell me this earlier, back when I was really, really struggling?
Oh, I definitely felt that.
Yeah.
Where was this advice 6 months ago when I really needed it?
Exactly. When you're deep in the weeds, you just want the quick fix, the immediate answer. It feels frustrating when the really helpful stuff seems to arrive late.
Totally.
And the master's response is just so insightful. He uses this analogy of a seed needing the right season, the right conditions to actually sprout. It highlights that wisdom, real understanding. It can't be forced or rushed. There needs to be a certain readiness within you, within the listener, to truly receive it and make sense of it. Think about a time maybe you got advice that just went in one ear and out the other, only for it to suddenly make perfect sense months or years later. That's often because you just weren't quite ready for it back then.
That makes a lot of sense. When you're right in the middle of intense emotion, anger, grief, fear, your main focus is usually just survival, right? Just getting through the day.
Precisely.
You're not necessarily in a headspace to absorb some profound life lesson.
Exactly. Our emotional state, as the reflections put it, can be like a huge storm clouding our hearing,
Yeah.
making it really difficult to truly hear and internalize guidance, even if it's being offered clearly. And what's interesting is the master was offering guidance earlier on. It says he gave small pieces of wisdom, gentle nudges, questions.
Subtle.
Very subtle. But the student, quite understandably, wasn't in a place yet to recognize these as the valuable inner tools they actually were. He was looking for the big, direct fixes, wasn't he?
Right, the magic bullet, the instant cure, rather than the sort of slower, steadier work of building inner strength yourself.
And this just beautifully highlights the master's patience, doesn't it? And his trust in the student's own process. He understood that real learning isn't about just downloading information quickly.
Yeah.
It's about the student reaching that point of inner openness, where that initial frustration starts shifting into genuine curiosity, where demanding turns into wondering.
So those earlier struggles, those times when you, the listener, might have felt totally lost or confused, they weren't wasted time at all.
Not at all. They were actually laying the essential groundwork, preparing the soil for future insights to take root. Every single difficulty contributed to the student's eventual readiness to truly grasp the wisdom when it was offered more directly. It's a reminder for you maybe that even your past challenges have shaped your capacity to understand things now.
It really underscores the importance of trusting that unfolding process in your own life, doesn't it? There's a kind of natural rhythm to learning and growth, and sometimes that lack of immediate answers is actually part of the rhythm itself.
Yeah, having faith that you will become ready in time.
Okay, so the reflections then shift to this really powerful idea, the silent exam.
Mm.
It's the next morning, misty, quiet,
Mm-hmm.
and the student learns a lesson not through words, but through the master's just silence. It really drives home how your perception of the world changes as you develop these uh, eyes of wisdom, as the text calls them, seeing things with a deeper understanding. Have you ever had a moment like that where clarity just arrives silently?
Oh, yeah, those moments of just knowing without being told are quite striking. And the idea that life rarely, sends you a syllabus for its exams, that really resonates.
Right, so like school with scheduled tests and revision periods.
Exactly. Life just throws these assessments at you, often totally unexpectedly. A difficult conversation pops up, a plan suddenly falls apart, you feel betrayed by someone. These aren't meant as punishments, but as the reflections frame it, they're like the silent exams of the soul. And they test something much, much deeper than just what you know intellectually.
And they're not testing your textbook knowledge, are they? They're testing who you are, deep down.
It's a
Your ability to summon patience when you feel provoked, or stay humble when maybe things are going well, or to see clearly, to discern truth from illusion when things get confusing. It's about the actual qualities you've been cultivating inside.
Precisely. And that's why the inner work, the preparation, is so incredibly crucial. You can't just magically become patient in a heated argument if you haven't been practicing patience in smaller moments.
Right. You need to have built the muscle already.
Exactly. The analogy they use of building a sturdy boat before the storm hits is just perfect. You need to develop those inner resources, patience, clarity, courage during the calmer times, so you're actually equipped when those inevitable life storms arrive.
And the master's silence, in this instance, becomes the lesson itself. It's like an invitation for you, the listener, to do your own inner check-in,
Yeah, a moment of self-reflection.
to ask, okay, how ready am I really?
Right.
It's a powerful reminder that life doesn't always wait until you feel perfectly prepared.
No, it really doesn't. And it connects right to the heart of inner growth, doesn't it? It's not primarily about ticking off external achievements. It's about cultivating that inner steadiness, that calm center, that awake awareness within yourself.
Mm,
The profound realization here is that while the external world throws the curveballs, it's your inner state, how grounded, how centered you are, that ultimately determines how those curveballs land, how they affect you.
so being grounded becomes your sort of superpower almost.
In a way, yes, your most valuable strength. It means that even those really tough times, the experiences that feel incredibly challenging for you, can actually become opportunities for deeper mastery, for profound growth, but only if you're armed with those inner resources, kindness, clarity, courage.
Okay, then the focus shifts again, this time, to the vital role of our relationships, introducing this idea of the mirror of the other.
Yeah, this is a big one.
There's this relatable little story, isn't there? A younger monk accidentally spills water, and the student feels that initial flash of irritation.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah. But then, crucially, he makes a conscious shift in how he responds. Have you ever noticed how your own reactions to other people can be incredibly telling about what's going on inside you?
Absolutely. Those moments when someone just really pushes your buttons,
Yeah.
they can be surprisingly revealing, can't they?
Definitely. And the master's insight here is so powerful. He says, the real temple is not built of stone. It is built in your heart. And people, their mistakes, their moods, their presence, are the chisels that shape it.
Wow, that completely reframes how you look at everyday interactions, doesn't it?
It really does.
The whole idea that every person is a mirror. Some reflect your light back, your strengths, your kindness. Others reflect your shadows, your impatience, your judgment, your pride. And some, maybe the trickiest ones, reflect your wounds. Those areas still needing attention and healing. And the reflection stress, these encounters aren't just random noise. Life deliberately surrounds you with these mirrors.
Not a reason.
Yeah, to help you gain self-knowledge in action right there in the messy reality of your relationships.
And the real test for you, we learn, isn't about trying to engineer a life free from difficult people or annoying situations.
Good luck with that.
Exactly. It's about how you respond when your inner peace does get disrupted. It's in those moments of friction, those triggers, that the real work, the real shaping happens.
Precisely. Think about it in your own life. Maybe a friend lets you down badly. That experience, painful as it is, might highlight your need for clearer boundaries. Maybe it puts you on the path towards forgiveness.
Right.
Or perhaps a difficult colleague constantly tests your ability to stay calm under pressure. Or even, a child who just isn't listening. That can be a powerful teacher of patience and true presence.
So every relationship, with all its ups and downs, becomes this incredibly important learning environment for you.
Absolutely. And it really challenges that common belief, doesn't it? That idea that I'll be peaceful once everyone around me starts behaving properly.
Yeah, if only they would change.
Right. But true peace, as the reflections make clear, comes from within you. It comes from learning not to give away your inner state, your power, based on how other people act or what they say.
And when someone does trigger a strong reaction in you, the reflections offer some really useful introspective questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like asking yourself, okay, what is it about them or their behavior that's touching a raw nerve in me? Or what am I believing right now that's making me feel unsafe or unloved or unseen in this interaction?
Those questions immediately turn the spotlight inwards, don't they? Helping you reclaim your own power and understand the deeper roots of your reaction, rather than just blaming the other person.
And it's through that conscious effort, that choice to reflect, instead of just blindly reacting, that real compassion for others starts to grow. The students shift, being able to respond gently to that impatient monk later on, recognizing his struggle. That's such a beautiful illustration of this inner development for you.
It really is. So ultimately, this perspective transforms how you see people. They stop being just obstacles or irritants.
Or props in your story.
Exactly. And they become really important teachers on your path. Relationships aren't interruptions to your journey. They are a fundamental part of the journey itself, offering these constant, real-time opportunities for you to learn and grow.
Okay, and finally, we get to explore this really profound concept, the sculptor named suffering. The scene is set, the student's feeling pretty helpless after hearing bad news from home,
Yeah, tough moment.
and the master delivers that incredibly powerful line, because suffering is not the enemy, young one. It is the sculptor. How does that land with you?
It just completely reframes how you might instinctively view difficult times, doesn't it? Instead of seeing suffering as like a punishment or a sign that something's terribly wrong with you or your life.
Yeah, like you failed somehow.
Right. It's presented instead as this powerful force for transformation, a process of refinement. Like fire purifies gold, suffering can strip away the non-essential, reveal what truly matters, wake you up from numbness or complacency.
Hmm.
It can even crack open the hard shell of the ego, break down illusions you've been holding on to.
And a crucial shift for you, the listener, is moving from automatically fighting against the pain, resisting it, to asking that different question. Okay, what is this trying to teach me?
Exactly. And the reflections highlight the hidden gifts that can often eventually be found within suffering. Loss teaching you the true value of cherishing what you have. Illness may be prompting you to finally listen to your body's needs. Betrayal fostering discernment and maybe deeper self-trust. Loneliness guiding you towards a stronger inner companionship. And grief ultimately revealing the incredible depth of your capacity to love.
It's about recognizing that suffering, while it feels unbearable at the time, isn't necessarily meant to just destroy you.
Right. Often it's precisely in those moments of feeling broken that your deepest strength, your capacity for empathy, your shared humanity actually gets revealed. I love the analogy they bring in of kintsugi pottery.
Oh, the Japanese art form?
Yeah, where broken ceramic pieces are mended with gold lacquer. The breaks aren't hidden, they're highlighted, honored. The process makes the bowl more beautiful, more unique, more valuable because of its history.
That's such a powerful image for you listening, suggesting that your own broken places, your wounds, when tended to, can actually be mended with something precious, making you more resilient, more whole in a new way.
And the reflections strongly advise against trying to just rush through your pain, to bypass it. It needs to be seen, acknowledged, felt.
You have to sit with it.
You do. And ask yourself those deep introspective questions. What part of me is breaking open here? What old patterns are dissolving? What wisdom is trying to emerge from this difficult experience?
Because suffering, as they say, is a slow but thorough teacher for you. It offers insights that maybe no other experience really can. It fosters a unique depth of compassion, both for yourself and others, and builds a particular kind of inner strength.
Mm. And perhaps one of the most profound outcomes is this idea that your transformed suffering, the wisdom you gain through your own hardship, can then become a lantern for others.
Oh, yeah.
You can offer support and understanding to people facing similar challenges, not from a textbook, not from theory, but from your own deeply lived experience.
That's beautiful. And the student, in the end, finds a way to accept his sorrow, sit with it, and eventually peace does arrive, not by avoiding the pain, but by moving through it with awareness.
Exactly.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, the core message that really stands out for you listening is this. Personal growth isn't about passively waiting for life to get easier.
Yeah.
It's about actively cultivating awareness, gathering, and actually using your inner resources, those tools we talked about, and consciously learning from every single aspect of your life, especially the challenging parts in your relationships.
And those missing steps you might have felt were, well, missing. They aren't some external secrets hidden away somewhere. They're actually internal developments, qualities, and perspectives that you cultivate through your own conscious effort and ongoing reflection.
It's also a reminder for you that wisdom often unfolds according to its own timing when you become truly ready to receive it, and that even your past struggles, the ones you wish hadn't happened, have played an essential role in shaping the understanding you have today.
Absolutely. So as you continue on your own path, maybe try to remember to view your current difficulties not just as roadblocks or
Yeah,
punishments,
not just things to get rid of.
right, but as potential opportunities for growth, chances to discover and add new, invaluable tools to that inner toolkit we mentioned.
And maybe just thinking about a current challenge you're facing right now.
Mhm.
What's one tool or perspective from our discussion today? Maybe it's cultivating more awareness or asking yourself one of those specific questions or perhaps seeing your relationships or even your suffering in that slightly different light.
Mm.
What feels like it could offer just a helpful nudge forward for you?
And finally, perhaps consider this, that the very silence, the lack of immediate answers or clear direction in your life right at this moment, maybe that isn't emptiness. Maybe it's actually its own form of profound guidance, subtly urging you to look deeper within yourself for the wisdom that is already there, waiting patiently to be discovered by you.